A sitting U.S. president is talking openly about taking territory from an allied country, and the most important part of the story isn't whether he succeeds, it's what it does to the rules while he's trying. Welcome to Why It's Trending Daily. I'm Hank. This is where I break down the stories that everyone is suddenly Googling, and I explain to you why they matter. So here's what actually is happening right now. Since returning to office, Donald Trump has repeatedly said he wants to annex Greenland very badly. This week, he escalated that language. He said the U.S. is going to do something there, whether they like it or not, referring to Greenland's government and Denmark. He framed it as a national security issue, saying that if the U.S. doesn't act, Russia or China will take over Greenland. He also said he'd prefer to do it the easy way, but that the hard way is very much on the table. That's not metaphorical language here. That is a menu of options. So what are those options exactly? Well, according to reporting, one idea is being discussed inside the White House where they would pay Greenlanders directly. Greenland has a population of about 56,000 people, and the numbers floated range from $10,000 to $100,000 per person. The logic is that Greenland has legal right to vote for independence from Denmark, and direct payments could influence that outcome. But there's a problem. Polls show that nearly 85% of Greenlanders reject becoming part of the United States. So while independence is legally possible, joining the U.S. is deeply unpopular. That brings us to the second option, just buying Greenland outright. The White House has confirmed that Trump's team is actively discussing making an offer to Denmark. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has told lawmakers that Trump would prefer to buy Greenland rather than invade it. But Greenland and Denmark have both been very clear the island is not for sale. Now, there are historical examples of the U.S. buying land, the Louisiana Purchase, Alaska, the Danish West Indies, but in every one of those cases, the seller agreed. That's not what's happening here. The third idea being floated is a sovereignty sharing agreement, similar to the compacts of the free association the United States has with some Pacific Island nations. Now, these agreements usually give U.S. responsibility for defense and security in exchange for economic assistance. But even that would require Greenland to first separate from Denmark, which again, it does not want to do. And then there's the option everyone is uncomfortable with, and that of course would be force. The White House has said it isn't ruling out military action. Denmark has said any such move would violate NATO and could end the alliance. Now, Trump argues that Greenland is too strategically important to just leave alone. From a military perspective, that's not wrong. You see, Greenland sits on the shortest route between North America and Europe. The waters around it are key transit zones for Russian and Chinese vessels. The U.S. already has a major military presence on the island of Pitvuk space base, which supports missile warning systems, missile defense, and space surveillance. About 650 U.S. personnel are already stationed there. And under a 1951 agreement, American forces operate under special legal conditions. That's why this isn't just rhetorical. The infrastructure already exists. Now, some analysts believe that if the U.S. wanted to, we could take control of Greenland with little resistance, not because it should, but because it could. Now, let's talk about what this is really about here. Trump says this is national security. He says that Greenland is too important and too resource-rich and too strategically located to leave in European hands. And Greenland is resource-rich. A 2023 survey found that 25 of 34 minerals the European Commission considers critical exist there. Scientists also believe there may be major oil and gas reserves. But Greenland doesn't currently exploit most of that. Its economy is largely based on fishing, and its indigenous population has resisted mining and drilling. Which brings us to the part that makes people uncomfortable. This isn't really about what Greenland wants, it's about what powerful countries think they can justify. Greenlanders don't want to join the United States. Denmark doesn't want to sell Greenland. Europe doesn't want this, and yet it's being discussed anyway. So this isn't strategy here, this is leverage. And here's why this matters to you. When powerful countries start talking openly about acquiring land, alliances become conditional, treaties become flexible, and sovereignty becomes negotiable. Once that becomes normal, it doesn't stay isolated, it becomes a template. And templates get reused. I'm Hank, here to explain the chaos, not hype it. If you want more content like this, you're in the right place.